Today, I'm going to give you a complete look at Warmane's Icecrown realm in 2025, breaking down what it's like to level here, how the endgame feels, the state of the economy, the population, and some of the server's ongoing strengths and weaknesses after nearly a decade of operation. Warmane, which older players may remember under its original name Molten, has a long and completed history. Years ago, the Molten project suffered from database hijack, periods of instability, and community frustrated with bugs and exploits that were never addressed quickly enough. Over time, however, the team rebranded as Warmane, rebuilding the infrastructure and shifted their focus toward creating stable, well-scripted War of the Lich King realms, with a range of gameplay speeds and population styles. Icecrown is crown jewel of their offerings, a War of the Lich King realm with the endgame content already unlocked, featuring a 7 times experience rate that allows you to move through the leveling process in a fraction of the time you spend either Blizzard's retail servers or solo private realms. Because all the raids, dungeons and battlegrounds are available right from the start, safely caters heavily to players who want to get level 80 quickly and jump straight into a PvE or PvP without waiting for content phases to unlock. To get a feel for the leveling pace and quest quality in 2025, I created a brand new human rogue and began in Northshire Abbey. The first quests, as any Alliance veteran will know, are extremely simple, turning in an industrial node, hunting wolves for pelts, and eliminating low-level kobolds nearby mines. Because of the 7 times XP rate, these early saves fly by. I completed only 4 quests before reaching level 6, and by the time I defeated Garlic Pathfinder, looted my first good quality item with 1 agility, and I returned to the quest giver, I was already level 10. The total time spent was about 25 minutes, and that includes a short AFK break. On the server, if you want to dedicate a full day of play, you could realistically go from 1 to level 80 in a single session. The bigger point is all the quests I encountered worked perfectly. In the past, Warmane scripting could be inconsistent, with some objective failing to trigger or NPC spawning incorrectly. In this run, every object complete without issue. From main past experience on this realm, I can say this is standard across all leveling zones, even some most obscure or rarely visited regions. To get a proper feel for endgame PvP on Icecrown, I logged out to the different character that was already level 8 and jumped straight into the battleground queue. The match that popped was Strand of the Ancients, and what immediately stood out to me how quickly it filled. It was literally only a few seconds from hitting the Q button to loading into the battleground. This was around 11 AM real time on a Sunday morning, and the speed of the queue is something you don't often see, even on Blizzard official servers during peak hours. The first round, I tried making good use of the cannons to defend our gates. The horde pushed aggressively and broke through before we could mount an official counterattack. I hopped down to try stopping the demolisher and even got in a fight with Druid, escorting it. But before I could finish, he had back up and pushed right past. On another attempt, I encountered a paladin in close combat, but things turned bad when a heavily geared warrior joined the fight and quickly overwhelmed me. I'll be honest, I'm not a strong PvP player, and my gear was full PvE setup, which didn't exactly help my survivability. One thing worth mentioning is that Warmane had implemented gear-based matchmaking for battlegrounds. It means that if your item level is low, you generally be matched against other players in similar gear, making it far less punishing for fresh 80s than it was years ago, when you could be instantly deleted by Shadow Moon users in full best and SWAT gear. While the match didn't go in our favor, it was the first round when I decided to leave. It was still a fast-paced high activity PvP environment, and that's something Icecrown continued to deliver consistently. Switching over PvE, I queued for random dungeon fighter group as DPS. The wait time was about 8 minutes, which is fairly reasonable considering the server's large population and the naturally high demand for tanks and healers. Once inside the dungeon, the scripting mechanics felt identical to Blizzard's Rat era implementation. Bosses executed their abilities as expected, environmental triggers work correctly, and there were no obvious bugs. My group did have one problematic player, a paladin who died on every boss fight, and repeatedly rolled need on gear he could not use. The group WotLK him. Within seconds a new DPS joined to replace him. From my previous runs and the experience of other players, raid content on Icecrown is equally well scripted. Every boss encounters work properly, but bugging raids often comes with high gear score requirements. Most leaders prefer to run it well gear player to save time and increase success rates. If you're new and still gearing up, join a guild is the best way to ensure regular raid access. In terms of the in-game economy, Warmane managed inflation by implementing an annual gold squish, where the total gold held by each character is reduced to a set percentage. This keeps item prices from spiraling out of control and maintaining a more stable marketplace. The most recent squish was about 3 months ago, which means prices are currently relatively stable, although historically they began to rise again late in the year. Population-wise, Icecrown remains extremely active. Dalaran, the primary hub for level 80 characters, is consistently packed with players, far more than you'll see in Strand or Orgrimmar. This has been the case for years. At peak times, the sheer number of characters in Dalaran can be overwhelming. Some of these may be bots or AFK players, but the active player base is still among the largest in the private server scene. The fact that Warmane has maintained such high population for nearly a decade speaks to both the stability of the project and the loyalty of its community. No review of Icecrown will be complete without addressing the pay-to-win element. Warmane operates a cash shop where players can purchase high-end gear, including best in slot items. This gives paying players the ability to skip much of the gearing process and jump directly to high-level PvE and PvP. For some, this undermines the competitive integrity of the server. For others, it's a necessary takeoff that ensures Warmane can continue operating without shutting down unexpectedly, as so many other private servers have over the years. Whatever this deal breaker depends entirely on your own view pay-to-win mechanism. But from a purely practical standpoint, it had helped keep the server financially stable and online for nearly 10 years. Personally, I have characters here that I created in 2015 and they are still playable today. That's something extremely rare in the private server world. In 2025, Warmane's Icecrown realm continues to stand out as one of the most populated, stable, and well-scripted part of the Lich King private servers available. The fast leveling rates make it easy to get new characters to endgame, and battleground queues are among the fastest you find anywhere. Dungeons and raids mechanics works as intended, and the economy remains under control thanks to annual gold squish. The downsides are the presence of pay-to-win store, the occasional inflated gear score requirements for bugs, and the fact that the most crowded zones can sometimes feel artificially populated due to AFK characters. But for players who want a long-term Warcraft experience without the soul grind of retail or progression servers, Icecrown remains one of the most reliable choices you can make.